This tutorial is designed to instruct teachers on how to create and submit a final REACH SLO submission form at the end of the school year once you have post-tested all of your students in your SLO. To begin, open up any internet browser, enter SLO / into the address bar, and click Enter. If you are on the Education Network in Austin ISD, then you should be directed to a login screen for the SLO database. Use your AISD username and password to log in. If you are not on the Education Network, you will need to enter the URL address for the SLO database into the address bar instead. Next, you will be redirected to a school level landing page. Click on the appropriate school level that you work with. This will direct you to the main SLO database page where you can view your REACH individual or team SLOs, as well as your PPFT appraisal SLO if you are at a PPFT pilot campus. Click on your individual SLO1, then click on the Create Final SLO Submission button in the top left-hand corner. Click OK on all pop-up windows that appear. We are now in the Teacher section of the Final SLO Submission form, where you can see your personal information and date near the top, followed by the student growth target that you decided upon at the beginning of the school year. To reach our goal, at least 75% of the students must have met their individual growth target. Most REACH campuses are at 75%. However, you may have been approved for a different percentage by your principal. Just below this box is the student growth target formula that students must achieve in order to meet their individual growth. Most campuses and teachers are required to have at least 75% of their students make half the growth required to a perfect score, unless you had principal approval for a different growth target. Now that you have post-tested all of your students on the SLO, you can now calculate the actual student growth percentage achieved. To do so, find your SLO spreadsheet that you saved on your computer from the beginning of the year SLO submission. If you are using a formulated SLO spreadsheet, enter the post-test scores. The spreadsheet will then auto-calculate the actual growth and whether each student met their growth targets. If you are not using a formulated SLO spreadsheet, you will then need to manually calculate and enter all three columns. For students who withdrew from your classroom throughout the year, enter WD or anything non-numeric in the post-test column. If you are using a formulated SLO spreadsheet, the WD will remove those students from the total number of students on your roster. Be sure to save the SLO spreadsheet on your computer again once you have entered all your post-test data. In this example, 10 out of 14 students met their target, which equals 71% of the class. Most SLO spreadsheets already have this percentage calculated in the yellow box in the top right-hand corner. If you don't have a formulated SLO spreadsheet, then on a calculator, take the number of students who met their individual growth targets and divide it by the total number of students on the SLO. Back on the SLO database, select the percentage number 71 from the drop-down menu on your actual student growth percentage achieved. Then, in the teacher comments box, enter any additional information that you want your principal to know about your SLO, the assessment, or the students. This box can also be used to request an exemption to your principal for certain individual students in rare situations, which may include students with attendance issues or extreme disabilities. If you are requesting an exemption, also provide a reason with detailed data for support. In this example, the teacher is requesting an exemption based on attendance issues. It will be up to your principal to approve or deny any exemption request. Teachers who have SLO percentages already greater than the student growth target percentage goal should avoid requesting exemptions. Exemptions are reserved for those teachers who fell just short of achieving their goal, and where an approved exemption would allow them to reach their goal. For the final step, scroll to the bottom of the submission form to upload your attachments, which must include a final completed SLO spreadsheet, a blank assessment, scanned scored student post-assessments, and scanned scored pre-assessments for any student who was not originally pre-assessed at the beginning of the school year. Be sure to only upload less than 20 megabytes at a time and then click Save as Draft. Go back to your individual SLO verification and click the Edit button. Continue until you are able to upload all required documentation. Review your entire final SLO submission form and click the blue Submit button in the top left-hand corner to submit your results to your principal for verification. If your principal notices a revision needs to be made, then he or she will reset the submission form back to draft and notify you, the teacher. Click OK on all pop-up windows that appear. You should now be able to see that your final SLO submission form is submitted for principal verification. This has been a tutorial on how a teacher can complete their final SLO submission form. To complete a final team SLO submission form, please follow the same directions and be sure to enter all teacher student data and upload all of student work.